In an effort to increase public safety, the Saint Regis Mohawk Tribe, in consultation with community members, has begun the process of exploring the development of a residency ordinance, which would determine who can reside in the southern portion of Onkwarihwashon'a.
We've had several different concerns. One is about people either residing on the reserve or being on the reserve and not being known to our community members. And they get concerned about who they are and why they're here, how long are they going to be here.
The process of developing a residency ordinance began in the summer of 2017.
We had, I think, 5 community meetings. And the idea was to get information from the community so that we could develop an ordinance. We could develop the law. What happened was we didn't have a lot of tribal members who attended. Some of the people at the meeting then, community members, brainstormed the issue on how we could get more input, and it was decided that we should actually do a survey. We should do a written survey sent out to every enrolled adult tribal member so that their views could be considered. The goal will be to have a tribal law, which is a tribal ordinance that addresses the issue of residency. Who is entitled to live on the reservation, who requires permission from the tribe to live on the reservation, and issues that surround that subject. So we start with a survey, and then we have a draft ordinance, and then we have meetings to get comments on the draft ordinance.
At the beginning of August, a community survey was mailed to individual tribal members to give them an opportunity to voice their opinion on a residency ordinance.
We did a mailing to all tribal members who live in the southern portion as well as elsewhere in the United States. We also did a bulk mailing on the northern portion that went to each household, okay? And if there are more than one tribal members that live in any household in the northern portion, we ask that they please contact us so we can give them some additional surveys. We also provided a link, which is on the front page of the survey itself, for people who would like to complete the survey online. To do so, you do need the printed survey because there is a unique identifier located in the bottom right-hand side. So they can go to the website address, and once they get to that, they'll see a link, Saint Regis Mohawk Survey, and they enter their unique identifier number that's located in the bottom right-hand side. If people would like, they can always stop by. We'll help them complete it in person, or just give us a phone call at 358-2272, and we'll help them in completing it online.
At the request of community members, the survey is being conducted in conjunction with SUNY Potsdam's Institute of Applied Research, who will help analyze the results.
The thing about surveys is that I can draft survey questions, you could draft survey questions, but there's a real science in how you ask those questions, because you could get a false result from the survey. We wanted to have it done by people who've done this many, many times so that we can accurately get answers and get the accurate questions to send to them about residency so that we'll have usable information.
Gathering the community's feedback on important issues, such as residency, is an essential part of developing policy for the Saint Regis Mohawk Tribe.
Well, I think it affords people a sense of control over their environment, and I think, finding out what people are thinking and what they're feeling and taking that into consideration when, the decisions are made is really important. And we know that opinions vary very much, but we also know that there's people who don't come to community meetings to voice their opinions. The survey that we've sent out gives them that opportunity to think about every possible scenario. We want the people to be able to consider the benefits and the drawbacks of any decision that's made either way, when they start to think about who they want to live here and what rights do they have to live here and how they should behave while they're here. And how are we going to regulate that? And what kind of standards are we going to set?
The survey results and suggestions will be used by the tribe's legal department in creating a draft residency ordinance for the community's consideration.
When we get the survey results and then they're analyzed, then our office will draft the ordinance, and then we will have at least 2 or 3 meetings with the community members to review and comment on the draft ordinance before it's finalized. So that's the first phase. Tribal Council will pass that, approve the ordinance. Then the final ordinance will go out, and there's a 60-day time period between when the Tribal Council passes the resolution and when there's a vote. The next thing that would happen is that this law, which is actually what will be voted on in the referendum, will be adopted by the Tribal Council after there are meetings and you take into consideration the survey answers. Tribal Council will then approve it, and then that law will be put out for referendum vote. That encompasses a 90-day time period where we'll have 3 required meetings under the Governance Act, and where community members will be able to come in, and myself and Tribal Council will explain what is in the ordinance so that people will understand it. And then at the end of that time period, we'll have the actual referendum question, which will be, do you approve, yes or no, of the residency ordinance that is being proposed? And then tribal members, based upon all of the input that they've given and the education, will be able to answer that question knowing what is in the law.
To encourage increased participation on this important matter, the deadline for completing and returning the survey has been extended to Friday, August 31st.
There was a little bit of a delay in getting some of the surveys out in the mail. So some people may have gotten them a little bit late, but it doesn't allow for enough time between now and the original date of the 15th to get those in. We just want everybody, and I think the idea is, let's take our time. There's no deadline. People, I think, want to have this law drafted so that we can have some limits on residency, but there's no actual time. Why not take our time and get it right?
If you have not received a survey, or for more information, please call SRMT Communications Department at 518-358-2272.